Hey everyone, I'm Andre Versace. Today I'd like to talk to you about dysphoria. And sorry I'm videoing from my phone. I hope y'all don't mind. So, let's see. I was adopted into a very strong Catholic family. Had a really fantastic childhood. I'm a military brat. Um, 5 brothers and sisters. And we would go to church almost every day. We were homeschooled. Just we were a very tight knit family. We loved spending time with each other. We prayed together, before all meals. And I remember the first time I re- I realized I was different, or I got the courage to tell my mom that I was different, and I didn't know what it was. In a Catholic family, we just believed anything that was not, if it's not Adam and Eve, then if it's not man or woman, then you're wrong or sinning, you're going to hell type deal. And so it was very difficult for me to come out to my parents. And I remember telling my mom once, we were sitting on my bed, and on the side of my bed, and I just told her, I said, I think I'm gay. And she kind of brushed it off and she just, was comforting, just said, oh, it's a phase. Maybe if you dressed nicer, wore, skirts, wore jewelry and things like that, then, it'll pass. And it wasn't really looked at as a big deal. Um, I was a tomboy, and we never really grew up wearing makeup or anything, so it wasn't like a big deal to be a tomboy. We were always active and athletic and sporty, and that's just the type of family that we were. Um, but I remember coming out, and so I did try. I tried to put on skirts, and even though it was kind of awkward, the thing is, I knew it was okay for me to wear skirts. I knew it was okay for me to have I had some longish curly hair, little ringlets, and I would just put it up in two buns because it was too short to go in a ponytail. But um, I remember I would tell myself, like, it's not other. I knew other people perceived me as a girl, and so it wasn't wrong for me to wear a skirt, or wrong for me to put my hair up, or to put earrings in, or to go um, and play the female role. But inside of me, it just felt disgusting. That's the only word I can think of to explain it, was utter disgust. I mean, I would wake up in the mornings and I would want to just scratch my skin off my body because I was disgusted in myself. And I wasn't, I wasn't, I was doing well in school. I was very bubbly personality, and like I said, active, very athletic build. And nobody could understand because they thought it was more of a self-image, and it was my body. It's like you're living in a cage. It's like you are not the person that other people view you as. And I don't ever expect anyone to understand it, and I never, if someone is interested in becoming educated in the way in the LGBTQ plus community that maybe has never been an ally before, I urge you to be patient, and especially those of you that are maybe just beginning transition or learning how to transition, be patient with people because they don't understand how we feel. They don't understand what it feels like to want to just take your skin off and throw it away and get a new body. They're never going to understand that, just as I will never understand what it's like to be a little boy going and playing sports, or I will always have memories of being a little girl that goes out to play sports, and maybe nobody wants to pass the ball to me because I'm a girl, or I'll never be able to have memories of being the teenage boy that is learning his father's teaching him how to shave, or that's going out on my first date because it wasn't doable. That's not how I grew up. It was I grew up with, I wasn't even actually, being in the strong Catholic family, I wasn't even really allowed to date. But, and then coming out fully as transgender to my family, it was a mess. And I can't blame them, because I didn't understand how to love myself, and I didn't even really understand what was going on when I was first beginning to transition and understand who I was and what I was feeling. Um, when I joined the Army at 17, and that's when I was really able to educate myself on that there is a community out there. There are other trans men and women, and there are other persons that it doesn't have to be exactly how I was taught. And just in my strong Catholic family with, women and men, that's who they fall in love with each other, that's who they get married, no children before marriage, all that stuff. That's not the world that we live in. And I'm not condemning them. I'm just would like to, and that's just my opinion. And, let's see, I got off track there. So, back to the dysphoria, and back to me when I'm faced with people that want to understand a little bit, and with the transition, and people don't expect them to understand right away. Don't expect them to accept right away. It took me a very long time just to accept myself the way that I am. So it's not realistic to expect somebody else that doesn't understand how we feel to accept you right away. It's just not realistic. And another aspect I would like to bring up that maybe might make people a little bit annoyed at me, but it's okay. When you're transitioning, and I'm speaking, purely to, I guess purely to my community, my trans community. When you are transitioning, keep in mind that it's not just a transition for you. It's also a transition for all of those persons that remain with you, that remain in a relationship, whether it's friendship or family or co-workers. It's also a transition for them. And while we are transitioning and we are learning to love ourselves more, it might be a little more difficult for them, because they don't, like I said, they don't understand. They don't understand that this is better for you, that this is making you happier, that this is who you are. And be patient. It took my grandmother. I love my grandmother to death. She's my most favorite person in the world, and she has always stuck by me, no matter what, through my entire transition. She always had the door open when my immediately family did not. When they shut the doors, she was always welcoming to me, and I visit her typically once a year. It's been a while since I visited her, but it took her a while. And rightly so. I was always her granddaughter, and she finally asked me. She said, "What do I say when I'm introducing you to, her, when she's introducing me to her friends?" And I just told her, I said, use gender neutral pronouns and words, and allow them to come to a conclusion themselves. And the next day, she came up to me again. We were talking, I think, at dinner, and she said, you're absolutely right. I didn't have to say anything concerning your gender, and they immediately assumed you were my grandson. And so that was a small victory. The next small victory was when she wrote me a birthday card on my 25th birthday. She wrote me a birthday card. She had crossed out the granddaughter and wrote grandson. And that was huge as well, because that was the first time that she had acknowledged it in writing. And then she did finally acknowledge it verbally when she introduced me as her grandson to somebody. And it was a process for her, but she never stopped loving me, and she never stopped being welcoming and accepting of me. But it is a transition, not just for you, but also for everyone around you. The next video, I kind of talked on that one. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. The next video is going to be about chest surgery, and I'll just share with you my results. And again, this is a learning process for me. I've never done this before, so it's been a whole 10 minutes, and it's time for me to get out of here. Thanks again. Remember that you matter, you are loved, and if things are rough for you right now, it gets better.